transparent with your preceptor about what, maybe not the goals are specifically, but what you want to do. If you can never see yourself in this specialty, it's okay to tell the preceptor, hey, I really don't think that I'm going to be in this specialty ever, but I really like this. So what about this specialty could translate into that, or what could we focus on while I'm here? I don't think that's a bad thing. Do you tell people?
No, we've talked about it before in terms of our previous podcast, I think, on things not to do on your rotation. Don't walk in and say, I don't want to do this, and then check out. That's kind of that context. But it's okay to walk in and say, hey, I don't necessarily want to do surgery or cardiac surgery, for our example, but what is there that you guys do that maybe will help me in family practice? Because that's what I think I want to go into. Right. Great. We can kind of work on, let's do more clinic maybe. Let's talk about why these people are having the procedure, like the workup that maybe a PCP would do. Things like that. Okay, well, we can tailor some of that to you. And then you're engaged, we're engaged with you, and you get something out of it.
Right. Or like post-op follow-up. Like what brings these people back? What are their common complaints that you hear about, and how do you manage them? Like, okay, you might hate the 8-hour surgery, but if you're going to be in family practice and I tell you, hey, listen, people have more pain on the left side than they do on the right because that's where we take the mammary artery. People say, oh, that's great, because now I can explain that to a patient. I was actually shocked at the number of people that come through our rotation that don't want to do cardiac surgery. I always assumed that people did because that's why they picked it. But then I end up spending like the first week or two, like trying to sort it out, figure out like what's going to get them interested or not.
Or trying to get them excited because they aren't for some reason.
It's just kind of blank, or it's like, oh, that's nice. Like, oh, this is how we put in the pacing wires, and this is how we put in the chest wires. And like, oh, cool. Wow, this is actually really cool. What's the problem? But people after the fact, you're like, what do you want to do? And they're like, oh, I want to do family practice in like, an underserved area. It's like, okay, I see how this doesn't apply directly to you.
One of the best students, we just had recently came in and said, hey, you guys do a lot, I'm not quite sure. I definitely don't like the long surgeries, but I'm looking at, cardiology as another option. Oh, well, that's really similar to us. So let's focus on maybe some of the similar aspects of it. And you're going to be one of the best cardiology PAs out there because you know everything there is to do about the CT surgery side of it, or at least you have a nice introduction to it. Exactly. That you can then say, okay, well, I know how to manage, because all of our patients have cardiology involved, all of our heart surgery, and they're managing, but they manage things that we don't, or vice versa. And this kid was, it was the best 4 weeks, in my opinion, in the long term I've had with students, because it was tailored to that specific thing, because we knew, okay, this is what he wants to do.
We talked more about like what brought people to the hospital, what the workup entailed, what tipped the scales towards surgery versus medical management versus a stent. Like those are all things that he's going to have to deal with if he works in cardiology. And then of course, there's a universal skill is suturing. So we made sure that he got suturing time and stuff. But at the same time, we also didn't make him stay for every single case because, dude, you're not going to do this. It's okay. You should take off. So not that every preceptor is going to be that forgiving.
We're pretty cool preceptors.
I mean, they're kind of pretty much the best. So I think just being transparent with your preceptor and don't feel bad. Like, it's not offensive.
No, it's not clear cut. I mean, we always joke about, a patient comes in and they say, well, my stomach, hurts a little bit and this and that other thing. And I kind of manage from the chest up. We always joke about it. But I still see post-op ileuses and all these things. So it's important to have some knowledge of it because it crosses over. It's not, well, I do cardiac surgery, so I don't mess with anything in the belly. There is crossover in everything you do. So if you can be honest up front, then it makes it easier, I think, for you and the preceptor to tailor that rotation for you.